Hey, what's up guys? My name is Michael Westbrook. As always, thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, definitely hit that subscribe button. Today, we're taking a closer look at the MEQ driver from Origin Effects. We're gonna take a listen to a full band demo as well as some solo clips. I also wanna talk about just kind of how I've been using this pedal. I think there's a few different ways that it can be used to get some great natural sounding tones and just some natural steps in gain, right? When we're gain staging or stacking pedals. I also want to talk about kind of more general approach to that idea, how I've been doing it and how I've kind of tweaked my approach recently. All right, let's get into it. More and more lately, rather than reaching for an overdrive pedal, I found myself reaching for an EQ pedal. This allows me to shape and sculpt my tone as well as to boost my signal to get more saturation. Now, one big idea I want to talk about before we get into looking closer at the MEQ is this idea of EQ and saturation. Now, take for instance a higher gain amp like a Marshall style amp that gets a lot of overdrive, a lot of distortion. The design of those amps is done in such a way that they take a lot of the low end out early in the circuit and they push all this mid and high frequency content through the amp that allows us to get a lot of saturation, a lot of overdrive without it getting flubby or muddy. Now we can kind of simulate this with an EQ pedal. By boosting the mids or the highs, we can push the amp, cause it to overdrive, cause it to saturate in a very musical tube-like way. The MEQ accomplishes some of these ideas by giving us a mid control that allows us to boost the mids and upper mids, and then also gives us a drive stage that comes after that mids, so that as we push that mid knob, as we turn it up, we can drive that output stage that's kind of in the style of a classic Pultec Studio EQ and give us more saturation, more drive if we want to supplement what we're already getting from our amp. We also have a cut control that allows us to dial back some of those upper harmonics, some of that top end if it's getting a little harsh as we push it harder. There's one other feature I want to talk about, and that's the signature adapt circuit. Now, I think of this essentially as a compressor for the high end in this pedal. As you play soft, you get this nice top end, and then as you dig in, it kind of rolls that top end off. I wondered initially, before I played the pedal, if this would feel forced or feel unnatural, but I will say they've incorporated it in a really great way. And it's almost one of those things, like once you play with it and use it, you kind of wonder why nobody's done it before, because it feels really great and it definitely helps your top end sit in a really natural way depending on how you're playing dynamically. All right, so I've got my American Vintage Reissue Telly with Fralin Blues Specials plugged into the MEQ driver, plugged into my Matchless C30. I'm on the EF86 channel. Here's what we have with the MEQ driver off. All right, so I'm getting a little breakup from the amp, but not a whole lot. And so what I can do is I can use the MEQ driver to kind of push the amp a little bit. I've got the mids up there just a little bit. Let's go ahead and turn the level up. I'm on the 1K setting, and we're not really getting much drive from the pedal at all here. Let me turn those mids up even more. You can hear up there, we're almost starting to get into like cocked wah territory. Now, I will say here, probably the only thing I don't love about this pedal, or I wish was different, is I wish we had a little more level on tap. Because if I had this drive all the way down, just to kind of cut that part of it out, so I'm not getting any more saturation from the pedal, I don't really, there's just not quite enough level there for me. I would love to be able to, not boost the mids quite as much and get more boost, but I mean, right now this is all we got right here, so. It's hitting the front of the amp just a little bit, but again, if we had a little more level there, then it would almost, it'd be kind of similar to a clean boost, you know, even though we are getting a little bit of that, you know, mid footprint there. So let's start bringing in that drive circuit a little more. This is when the level really starts to kick up too, as we bring that in. So again, here's our clean signal. Let's go over to the 1.3 setting, 1.3K. Now, I think the cool thing about this pedal is that it's like an EQ. We're being able to boost those mids, you know, at different frequencies. But then we also have this drive circuit. And this is a thing, you know, obviously with a regular EQ that we don't have. We don't have the ability to add more saturation than what we're getting from the amp or, you know, an amp-like circuit. This same principle applies with an overdrive pedal. Say you have an overdrive pedal that's kind of your bass tone. We can use an EQ, or we can use the MEQ to boost, you know, essentially boost the front end of that overdrive circuit. Those you know, pedals are made for tube-like overdrive, and so these same principles are going to work with an overdrive pedal, which again is why I would grab something maybe like this lately. I would grab something like this before I would grab another overdrive circuit, just because this allows me to push those mids and kind of EQ things, but also you know, just saturate that stage that's kind of already in place. Go ahead and turn that drive up, and mids, we're going to go back down to this 800 or 0.8K. This is kind of getting into tube screamer land right here. Obviously, we're getting a lot of drive there. We're getting some from the pedal and then some from the amp. Let's see where we're at right here. To me, that sounds really great. It sounds really natural, and I think in a mix, you're going to find that those different EQ settings, those different mid settings, are really going to allow your guitar to step forward in the mix in a really nice and musical way. All right, I've got a setting dialed up. I want to take a look at this cut control. It's a really great spot that it sits in. It's not too over the top, but is really useful in kind of dialing in that top end, especially as you push this drive and you start pushing more level and mids. You know, some of those upper frequencies can kind of stick out a little more, and that cut knob just sits in a really nice place. That's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you for watching. Big shout out and thank you to Origin Effects for sending me the MEQ as well as the Halcyon Overdrive. If you haven't seen that video, definitely go check it out. All right, until next time, I'll see you out there.